Hi everyone, welcome back to another gameplay of Infinitode 2. So let's continue with the Tower Guide series. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at a very common and famous and strong tower, the Tesla Tower. And as always, we're gonna go through all the stats, all the abilities, the main strengths and weaknesses of this tower, how to best use it, how to best place it. And then at the very end of the video, we're gonna also take a look at research and at endless research. So let's jump here, level 1.1 as always, and let's see this tower. So first of all, the cost is gonna be same cost as Venom, so 78 coins in this case. Remember, I have max normal research, so all the stats and all the numbers that you're gonna see are gonna be higher because of that. And then if we go into the information, we can see that the description is damages multiple enemies with chain lengthening. So this tower is gonna do lengthening damage. Out of the 5 stats, we can see that it has pretty good range, 4 out of 5. Decent attack speed, 3 out of 5. 2 out of 5 of damage, so not very high damage. Crowd damage, 4 out of 5, so very nice. It's a good tower to damage multiple enemies. And then agility as well, decent, 3 out of 5. Effectiveness against enemies, this tower deals 50% extra damage to strong and jet enemies. Deals normal amount of damage to regular, healers, venom, bosses. Deals 50% of damage to light enemies. And then it deals only 25% of damage to fast and icy enemies. The main 2 weaknesses of this tower are the fact that this tower cannot hit these 2 type of enemies. So armored and fighters are and represent the biggest weakness of this tower. And if we try to place it, we can see already the range. You can see the range very large. Of course, range, damage, all these numbers are higher because of research. But if we just compare it with, for example, like a basic tower, you can see that the range is much larger. Then here as stats, we find range, damage, attack speed, rotation speed, and lengthening damage as the normal stats. So in this case, you can see that there is no projectile speed, and that's because of the fact that the damage from this tower is instantaneous. So as soon as the enemy is in range and the tower rotates and aims, then the damage is applied instantaneously. So this tower cannot miss. And then another unique feature is the fact that there is lengthening damage here. And in this case, the tower is gonna damage the first enemy with this number right here, right? You can see 16.6. And then the lengthening is gonna chain to nearby enemies if they are close by at least 1 tile. So you can see these are the tiles, all right? So 1, 2, 3, and so on. So if the next enemy is at least 1 tile of distance from the first enemy struck, then the lengthening is gonna chain and is gonna also damage that second enemy. And then the third one, and then the fourth, and so on. So the lengthening chain is unlimited, so it has no limit in terms of enemies that can be hit. The limit is going to be the length, so how many tiles can the lengthening just travel backwards. So every time that you struck a new enemy, your damage decreases by this amount right here. So you can see that in this case, this is the percentage of damage that you do. So the opposite number is going to be the damage that you lose. So in this case, I'm losing 41.3% of damage with each new enemy that lengthening is chaining and it's damaging. So of course, with the third enemy, you're losing another 41.3%, and then on the fourth one, another 41.3%. So of course, this decreases your damage by a lot very quickly. The minimum damage that you do with the chain, with the lightning, is going to be 10%. So 10% of course, it's considering this number right here. As unique stat, this tower has lightning length. In this case, this is a flat number, and this is the number of tiles. So how many tiles? You can see here, considering from the beginning of the tower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means that the lightning from this tower can travel until right here. Then it can't travel any further. So even if there are more enemies, like if we suppose there are more enemies right here, the lightning can just cannot reach them. All right, and that's pretty much how it works. So remember, special stats only increase through the tower leveling up passively or through the abilities. Instead, all the other stats are going to increase with also upgrading the tower. Now going here through how the tower works, I'm going to just spawn a wave. So you can see here the tower rotating, taking aim, and attacking the first enemy. The first enemy, of course, is receiving the full damage, and then lightning is chaining. See here the chain between different enemies. So here you can see it very well, and you can see that each time, of course, the damage dealt, it's decreased by this percentage. Actually, this is the damage that you do. So the opposite number, so 1 minus 0.58 in this case, is the amount of damage that you lose every time. And yeah, so that's how the tower attacks. Okay, so very, very simple. In this case, this map is very short, so you cannot see the chain lengthening, like attacking a lot of different enemies. Now here, moving on to the abilities. First of all, the first ability is going to just increase the damage, so very simple. Second one, you lose a little bit of attack speed, but you gain more damage. And now in this case, you still get more DPS, because even if you lose attack speed, but you gain a lot more of damage, so you end up gaining overall more damage with this ability right here. And then the third one is going to increase the lightning length, and is going to also increase the minimum lightning damage that you do, so from 10% to 22.5%. In this case, remember, all these numbers are boosted because of research. And now, in my experience of the game, I think going with the first two abilities is always the way to go. Never pick up this third ability, because lightning length is not so valuable getting it through this. You can increase it in other ways I'm going to show you afterwards. And then, yes, increasing the minimum damage, it's always nice, but you're always going to get like multiple towers, not just a Tesla tower. So you can always like attack the enemies in multiple ways. So I don't think the increased minimum damage really makes that much of an impact. It's a lot better to just go with more raw damage. And then at level 10, we unlock another ability. In this case, this ability, it's exactly the same as Snowball, rather than instead of stunning the enemy, it's gonna just do damage. So when there are no enemies in range, it's gonna accumulate this electricity, and every 5 seconds is gonna shoot this lightning ball that deals a certain percentage of the tower DPS. So it's damage, remember, it's damage multiplied attack speed, multiply a certain factor. I think it's 3.5 or something like that. And of course, you can increase it with research. And this lightning ball, once it hits an enemy, is gonna do the exact same thing as a basic attack would do of the Tesla tower. The only thing that changes is that the base damage is not this one right here, but it's gonna be the one depending on your statistics. And then finally, level 20, we can choose between the ultimate or 10% more power. So power increases all the stats other than range and the special stat. And then the ultimate, it's this one. Now this ultimate is one of the best ones in the game. Once you kill a certain amount of enemies, so pretty much like sniper, right? The sniper level 10, you're gonna create this ball lightning that it's the ability. This is ball lightning, all right? So it's the ability that you get that you can use, right? So that's how it works. And this ball lightning is gonna just follow around the enemies. It's gonna do damage up to 3 enemies at once, and it's gonna just follow them. And this ball lightning is gonna do 25% of damage comparing to the tower. So in this case, my damage is 16.6, so this ball lightning would do 25% of this 16.6. All right. And this ball lightning, of course, how much time it lasts, how much damage it deals, and how many enemies you need to kill before you create one, all can be modified through research. And that's pretty much it. Now, as I'm gonna just show you a gameplay, I'm gonna show you as well how to best combo this tower. When you're using Tesla, pretty much like Venom, you're always gonna use a freezing tower, because of the fact that the second special stat of the freezing is actually increasing the lightning length. And therefore you can already boost this special feature of Light Tesla with just a freezing tower. So that's why I said before that this ability, it's not like needed to you can increase lightning length with a freezing tower. That's much better because at the same time you can also slow down the enemies. So yeah, always combo a Tesla with a freezing tower. And yeah, now I'm gonna just start the game. I'm gonna just gonna level up the tower here, level 20, so you can see all the abilities in action. And yeah, let's go. So I always recommend going with the first two because it just increases the overall DPS, so I guess it's just the best option. And then remember that with freezing you can also get the first ability from freezing, so you can also increase the damage that you do to frozen enemies. So you're not only increasing the lightning length, but you're also increasing the damage. So of course this applies to any tower. So just remember that freezing has these very nice supporting features. Then how to best place this tower. Now you can see that this tower range becomes very large as you upgrade it. Certain levels, of course, not all the levels are gonna give range, but like every level 4, level 6, level 8, and some other levels are gonna give more range. And the range becomes very large. So you can place this tower even in spots like this one. So spots that are very far away from the path, because remember, the damage is instantaneous. There is no delay, you cannot miss, and therefore there is no difference in placing the tower like further away from the path or not. And then placing the tower closer or further away from the path, I think it's just better placing a little bit further, because in that way you can exploit the bigger range. You can place the towers that have smaller range, like closer to the beginning, right? And then you can instead exploit the very nice range from the Tesla to just place it maybe further back, but still being able to reach the beginning of the path and damaging the enemies. And yeah, that's pretty much it, because other than that I think there is nothing else to say. I already said all the best things about this tower. And you can see here how the stats change, how you upgrade the tower, and now the maximum lightning damage that you can gain is 95%. So when you reach this maximum, that means that you're only losing 5% when you're chaining, so when the lightning is attacking different enemies. And you can see here I reached the max, in this case with the level 10 maximum upgrade level, and then almost level 20 as passive level. And yeah, so even if the damage of this tower is not pretty high, the fact that you can damage multiple enemies with the chain lightning, and the fact that the attack speed is pretty decent compared to like other towers, makes this tower a pretty good damage dealer, especially for the early game. For the late game, you know, as the enemies get more and more HP, then it's not so easy, and this tower really falls off a little bit compared to others. But still, you know, for the early and middle game, this tower is very good. Just remember about the main weaknesses, the fact that you can attack armored and fighters. So, for example, a Venom tower is very good to fight the armored, so in that way you're able to damage and destroy armored more easily. Or like also blast towers can do more damage to armored. And then in terms for fighter, you can go with like splash, or you can go with like cannon or multi-shot, you know, any other tower that just deals pretty decent damage to fighter enemies, and in that way you can compensate the weaknesses of this tower. And here finally I can show you the ultimate, so I'm gonna activate it. I always recommend in this case going with the ultimate and not going with power, because yes, power increases the stats, but you can see that lightning damage is already capped, so I can't increase it any further, this number right here. So I will only be gaining attack speed, rotation speed, and damage, and not by a lot. So I just recommend going with the ultimate, because the ability is very strong, and it can make you survive with just a Tesla tower much longer. So that's the ball lightning, alright? That in this case is doing 25% of damage, and it's lasting 12.5 seconds, and you can create multiple ball lightnings. If you can keep on destroying 10 enemies, right? Every 10 enemies you kill, you create one ball lightning. And so you can see you can have multiple ball lightnings at once. And yeah, they just do damage, and they just help you out to kill the enemies a little bit faster, especially for the late game. As I said before, that's the only like weakness of this tower. And yeah, so it's very, very nice. And yeah, this tower has been like in this new 1.8 patch, I think it's a lot stronger, so now it's one of the strongest towers. And I really recommend you to, like, for every game, when you unlock this tower, for every game to build at least one or two, because it's pretty strong. And it's very easy also to level up, because of the fact that you're damaging multiple enemies at once. It's very easy to earn experience and to reach like level 20, or to like upgrade the passive experience of the tower. So it's very easy to reach higher levels. And yeah, you can see here in this case, lightning length being 12.2 tiles. So that's an insane amount of tiles. Like it would be around, like the lightning length would be around here, so it could travel all this distance. And of course, in a real, well, in this map it's pretty short, you cannot even see that, but on other maps you can really exploit this extra lightning length. And yeah, that's it. That's all there is to say about this tower. And now here, going through research. So as always, as for any other tower, you can boost all the different stats in research. And you can also boost, of course, in this case, the lightning damage and the lightning length, and all the abilities. So in this case, you can see you can increase the minimum damage, of course, from the ability, remember. And yeah, just everything, the ultimate, all the other abilities, level 10 abilities, and so on. Now on endless research, there is one more thing that you can actually get. As you can see here, there is one new research, that is how many enemies you need to kill before you can create a ball lightning. So remember before that it was 10, and you can get so that level 2, so the max level is level 2, you can create one ball lightning every 8 enemies that you kill. So not every 10, but every 8. And of course, this makes you create more ball lightnings, and of course you do more damage. So that's the only new thing that you get on endless research. All the other upgrades stay the same, and of course you can just upgrade them further. And yeah, that's all there is to this tower. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.